What's going on, guys? It's Alex from Full Throttle Gaming. I know you guys saw that update video where now you know we are Full Throttle Gaming, FT Gaming. So today I want to make a video on a little show you guys may have heard of. You know, you may have heard of in the past, Top Gear, some little show like that, you know. And you may have noticed that, you know, a few punchy things happened and it's no longer Top Gear. It's now Grand Tour, owned by Amazon. So I know I'm a little late on this video. I know the first episode came out last week and the second episode came out yesterday, I believe. However, I wasn't able to record, and I'm still going to record the videos. I'm just going to be a little bit late uploading the first one, and the second one will be on time, and the rest will be on time. But every week the episode comes out, they're going to do something with cars, and I'm going to try to recreate it in some way, shape, or form in a video for you guys. So for the first episode, you know, it was the Holy Trinity, the Ferrari Laferrari, the Mclaren P1, and the Porsche 918 Spyder. Almost forgot that one. So I'm going to start off super simple, and what I want to do is I want to warm up with the cars, I want to get a feel for them, and then set some track times on a track and see if their results are the same that mine are going to be. So unfortunately, they did it on the Ebola-drome, which is their new test course, and clearly we do not have access to that. But we do have access in Forza 6 to the old Top Gear track. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring all the cars to those test tracks. I'm going to get a feel for the car, I'm going to warm up, probably off camera, and then I'm going to go and set a lap time with each one of the cars and see which car is actually best. Now, I do believe, I have tested the cars a little bit, and from what they were saying on the episode, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like the 918 is the best car, and I feel like the McLaren P1 is the scariest to drive, and then the LaFerrari is somewhere in the middle. However, I believe that the 918, when I drive it, will have a bigger lead than it did in the show. In the show, they were very close, the LaFerrari and the 918 Spyder. I believe the 918 will smoke everything else. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. Alright guys, so I just got done doing all my test laps with the Ferrari. The Ferrari? It's a strange name. Either way, it was an awesome car. So, quick, I want to give a little bit of stats about the car. So, 963 horsepower. Very, very, very powerful. In fact, it is the most powerful of all three of these cars by quite a bit. So it weighs in at 3,031 pounds, making it the lightest. So it has the most power and the least amount of weight out of all three of these cars. So theoretically, this should be able to handle it very well. It's also rear-wheel drive, so it'll have better top speed and everything, but it may struggle a little bit through the corners. So some things I noticed. This car, I would say this was the most average. You know, it was pretty good. It was very fast, but at the same time, there wasn't anything it really excelled at. It was kind of the thing where it was reliable. It was fine through the corners. It was fine through acceleration. It felt good. Traction was good. Everything about it seemed good, but nothing about it really stood out to me after driving all these cars. It seemed very good everywhere, but it didn't really lack anywhere. It didn't really excel anywhere. So I would expect this to kind of come in the middle. I would expect the 918 to beat it and the McLaren P1 to fall behind. But it's a pretty solid car. I enjoyed driving it. It's pretty solid. Not much else to say about it, so that's how I feel about the LaFerrari. Alright guys, next up we have the McLaren P1. So personally, this is my favorite car out of the bunch. If I could get any hypercar out there, I would get a P1. Styling wise, it looks the best to me, and when you're at this caliber of car, it doesn't really matter what you're driving. Everything's going to perform way better than you can actually handle on the streets. So this is my car of choice. However, based on the stats, probably not the best for the lap time. So the McLaren P1 has an astounding 903 horsepower. So it's kind of the mid-range, not quite as much as the LaFerrari, but more than the Porsche 918 Spyder. So 903 horsepower, weighing in at just under 3,300 pounds. So it weighs significantly more than the LaFerrari, with less power. So again, according to the books, it probably shouldn't win, especially since it is also rear-wheel drive. It's not necessarily going to be optimized for taking corners fast, but it's still pretty solid. So some things I noticed, just like in the episode of the Grand Tour, this thing was kind of scary to drive. You know, took corners and it wanted to oversteer. It didn't really have too much understeer, so that was good. But it was very twitchy. You know, it seemed like it wanted to just kill you the whole time. But it was a very solid car. I was able to clock in a very good lap time with it and some of the practice runs and stuff. And hopefully we can get something cool out of it in the actual run. So that's how I feel about the P1. It's pretty good. So finally we have the Porsche 918 Spyder. So everything I've ever heard on the internet, including the Grand Tour, I would expect this car to win. On paper, not necessarily, because it has the least amount of horsepower with only 887 horsepower. So that is significantly less than any other car in this list. Also, it is by far the heaviest. It weighs just under 3,700 pounds. That is almost 700 pounds more than the LaFerrari. So on paper, it shouldn't really compete with these cars. However, it has one advantage that these other cars don't, and that is all-wheel drive. So it will be able to corner faster than every other car, and this is somewhat of a technical course, you could say. So it may have an advantage just because of the all-wheel drive. So let's hop right into the laps and see who actually wins. Alright guys, you saw the laps with each of the cars. You heard what I had to say about them. You know exactly how I feel. There's nothing left to do except to get some times for each of the cars. Cue the dramatic music.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, 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 won't you let the light shine through? In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you,
Alright guys, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, the final times of each of the cars. So, I have finished all the laps, I have the times all recorded there on my phone right here. I just looked at the results. I think it's pretty interesting. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So we're going to start off with the car that I did first, second, and third. So I started off with the Ferrari Laferrari. So this one was supposed to get the middle time. That's what it did in Top Gear, Grand Tour. That'll be weird forever. Either way, that's what they got in the show. It was the middle car. That's what I expected here based on warm-ups and everything. So the lap time that the Ferrari got is 1 minute, 15 seconds, 0.731. I'll have it up on the screen. 1 minute, 15.731. So, pretty solid time. Again, I'm not the best driver, so it's not going to be incredible lap times or anything, but that was a pretty solid time. Moving on to the Mclaren P1. With a lap time of 1 minute, 14 seconds, 0.676. Yes, the Mclaren P1 beat the Ferrari Laferrari by over a second. Now, that could be completely my driving style. I'm not saying it's the better car, but I found that to be very interesting. I even felt worse in the McLaren. I feel like it was a worse lap, everything. But numbers don't lie. I got a second better of a lap in the McLaren P1. So, that's pretty interesting. So, I thought that the Porsche 918 Spyder was going to be the best, based on a lot of things. However, the time that I got for the Porsche 918 Spyder is 1 minute, 14.847. So the McLaren took it by just a little bit. But that's pretty interesting to me, because in the Grand Tour, it seemed that the McLaren was kind of left behind by the Ferrari Laferrari and the Porsche 918 Spyder. There was, I believe 2 seconds in their Bolodrome, the difference was. And here, the McLaren won. So it kind of seems like it switched. It seemed like the McLaren and the Porsche were at the top, and then the LaFerrari was switched. So it's kind of like the drag races. Every time someone does it, it's a little bit different. But either way, in my test, the McLaren won. The Porsche 918 Spyder came in a close second, and then the LaFerrari got smoked. Not really, but it was right behind. But that's the test that I got. So if you guys like this video, make sure to like it. As you can see, I put a lot of work into the editing and everything. I got a new editing software. This was a lot of fun. More videos, more content like this will be up. We will have an episode 2 version of Top Gear up shortly. I think I'm going to work with the Vulcan. But that's the video, guys. If you liked it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you in that next one. Peace.